As a principal, it is important to cultivate and nurture leadership of assistant principals in order to support the mission and vision of a school and to move students' academic achievement as well as their social emotional learning.
Cultivating leadership is not a process, but a set of behaviors and actions that a principal must demonstrate on a consistent and pervasive basis.
Okay, good morning, ladies. Good morning. Have a good day today. My job as a principal is to cultivate and nurture assistant principals. When I looked at my experience, I didn't have as much support in that area. As a first-year principal, it was a huge learning curve because a lot of times you sit in the assistant principal's office and you're wondering, well, what is the principal doing? You feel like you're doing everything. So I want to make sure that every leader that I touch, they understand the role of principal before they walk into it.
Ms. Haynes gives us the opportunity to sit down, watch how she conducts meetings, conduct those one-on-one interviews with teachers, observations, responses, post-conferences. She really encourages us to come in and sit down with her, and after she has a meeting, she discusses why she did certain things, the intent behind the meeting, and that firsthand knowledge really assists us in our development.
And so what I want you to do is think for a little bit right now. You don't lead from the top, you lead from the middle. So I feel like I'm that spoke in the middle, and then I'm just kind of looking at everything and working with everyone to make sure that the wheel keeps turning.
Giving him that extra support, whether it be going in the classrooms, doing some extra observations.
In order to train assistant principals to have the experiences before they go into the principalship, I feel that 70% of what they do and what they learn has to be embedded in their everyday practice. So what I like to do is determine what are the vision and goals of the school, what are the needs of the school, and then look at their strengths and their weaknesses and kind of do a match. Where do they need to grow and what needs do I have within the school? I'll take my assistant principal for administration, Mr. Salters, for example. There was a need for him to grow in the instructional area, but I also had a need to improve the students that participate in athletics and their grades and to work with my biology department.
One of my responsibilities is over the athletic program. In reviewing some of the data, student athletes were struggling in biology. A lot of students had to retake the class, so we decided to really hone in on what the issues were. As you're discussing your data, let's go and identify what the problems are, the barriers are.
We hold professional learning communities, PLCs, every Monday. Giving Mr. Salters the biology PLC really has allowed him to understand and ask questions of those teachers to get clarity of what he's supposed to know.
I needed to look at my pacing again and figure out a better way to get through.
I feel like the only way that you're going to grow as a principal is to be right there with the teachers, asking those questions. What does this data mean? How is the pacing going? What does a pacing chart look like? So I felt that it was important to see how deep he could go into knowing more about instruction. How did you feel about that meeting? And what do you think about, your athlete's performance?
If you look at it, the data shows that the student athletes are being successful. I meet with her on a weekly basis after the PLC, provide feedback as far as how the PLC went, some of the things that we discussed. I keep her abreast of where we're going. Sometimes she will come into the PLC and observe me, how I'm going about leading the PLC. As far as the concepts that they did not do so well on, are you using that to reteach and make sure that they are getting these concepts that they missed? I've learned how to really manage PLC, how to talk and communicate with teachers on their level regarding curriculum, not just the facility or sports, but really dig down deep with the data, find the root causes, and seeing what we can do to improve either their instruction or the ability of students to really gain that knowledge that they're teaching.
Like you have to evolve with nature if you want to survive.
As a result of what Mr. Salters has done with the teacher, with the athletes, with that particular course, we see where the athletes are really performing. He's put measures in place to have progress reports brought in by the students so that he can check those. He has them looking at their grade point averages on a 9-week basis.
Through the course of the biology PLC, we've improved as a school in our ranking throughout the district.
It really shows you how an assistant principal can make a major impact on the academic achievement of students.
My goal for my assistant principals is to, as their principal, build their capacity in the area of instructional leadership. I want my assistant principals to have the knowledge and skills they need in the areas of curriculum, instruction, and assessment in order to be able to support our teachers. The opportunity that you and I are taking today is to conference about your first 18 weeks. The evaluation process is a formal process for leaders to complete a self-assessment.
I wasn't teaching them to solve their problems. Right. And that was like a huge awakening for me to see the difference.
I use this conference as an opportunity for the assistant principal to share their self-assessment, and that will lead us into conversation about setting goals for the year. I provide specific feedback. We both provide reflection. Let's continue to have conversations about that and work together to come up with strategies to be able to support them. The evaluation process is actually structured to be a growth piece, not a gotcha piece. They have already demonstrated success with leadership. It's an opportunity for us to identify where we want to grow, because as leaders, we are always growing.
I feel strongly about my evaluation with Ms. Young today. She's very good about giving feedback. She helps you grow because she challenges you, and that's really good for me because I don't want to hear just, oh, you did fine.
And I tell my assistant principals, don't even look at it as being reflective and honest with me. Be reflective and honest with yourself as a leader, and look at where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. Let's set some goals. Then what I do is I take those and I embed them into our weekly administrative meeting. Based on your conversations with teachers, what do they still need? My goal is, through our weekly administrative meetings, to talk about best practices, to offer opportunities for them to attend staff development sessions.
I do end up learning from Ms. Young every day. She models leadership in a stellar manner.
Okay, very good. So boys and girls, if I was a detective,
Doing the paired observation, coming back together, talking about evaluations, that helps us know our teachers. We know where they are instructionally. We know their strengths. We know their leadership. We know a lot more just from us talking together.
If I was just looking at the one classroom, like I used to as a teacher, I was just concerned with that class. Now it's not just what does the teacher want, it's what's best for the school and for the children.
I just needed to rethink things and kind of think, okay, wait, get out of that teacher role and shift into the administrative role.
Being that support, that mentor, that encourager, that questioner. And then while doing that, developing their leadership capacity. So if they want to become a principal or if they want to go to the district level and use their leadership in that way, it's important that I encourage them to take risk, to accept challenges, and to continuously be learning themselves. Learn from each other.
I saw you at the parade.
Wasn't it a fun parade?
Ms. Young shows us what she's talking about. She doesn't just say it. She doesn't stay in her office all day and just manage the school. She truly believes in being seen, being available.
Good morning, my wonderful children. Your brother's sick. Oh my goodness, I hope he feels better.
Do I have a very busy job and a calendar that is full every day? Absolutely. But my assistant principals and their needs and my teacher leaders' needs are very important to me. So I will put aside whatever I am doing to be able to support them.
I consider these opportunities every day to be able to come into the building and see what my next challenge is going to be that I can make a positive outcome.
I'm growing as a person as well as an assistant principal.
I feel like the more administrators we have focused on our vision of success here at Arcado, the more our students are going to benefit from it. A school leader must possess the following qualities: a passion for quality, focused on results, a relationship builder, a leader who engages the community in the school issues, and number one, focused on student achievement.